for joining us on Political Update. Local government is the third tier of government, and much is expected in bringing development closer to the people at the grassroots. Considering the essential role of this level of government, the process of electing chairmen and councillors is critical. But in contemporary Nigerian local government system, how transparent is the process in the conduct of local government elections? Recently, Gombe State conducted its local government elections, and APC won all 11 chairmanship seats. In Kogi State, APC went home with all the 21 chairmanship and 239 councillorship offices. In Abuja State, PDP was victorious in all the 17 chairmanship positions. In Bauchi State, PDP won all the 20 chairmanship and the 323 councillorship seats. But in the FCT, that is the Federal Capital Territory, APC won 4 while PDP 2. So, a situation where the party in power in the state takes all has really questioned the transparency, integrity, and the acclaimed independence of the state independent electoral commissions. Though the Constitution empowers the state independent electoral commissions to conduct local government elections, but in view of recent development, many are advocating that INEC should also conduct local government elections. How feasible will that be? If this is achieved after some constitutional amendments, will there be transparency in the process? This is the focus of Political Update today. A senior advocate of Nigeria and a serving local government chairman will do justice to the issue at hand. My name is Mie Ogidi. Let's begin from Edo State, where a federal high court in Abuja has fixed January 9 for hearing in the suit challenging the certificate tendered by Governor Godswill Obaseki for the September 2020 governorship elections in Edo State. Justice Ahmed Mohammed fixed Saturday, January 9, after admitting the written addresses argued by lawyers in the matter. The judgment would be coming barely 24 hours to the expiration of the time for the determination of the suit filed by the APC. The National Assembly Joint Technical Committee on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and Electoral Matters is working to ensure that the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2020 is passed by the end of the first quarter of 2021. The 2010 Electoral Act Repeal and Reenactment
This committee, the act clause by clause, with a view to taking in all the views of Nigerians.
There is no doubt that we have more than enough valuable inputs from Nigerians for consideration to this enactment of this act.
Nigerian democracy and electoral process will become more robust and more resilient if the critical stakeholders in the process resolve to return sovereignty to the Nigerian people as the sole determinants of regime affirmation and change.
A magistrate court sitting in Abuja has declined to deliver ruling on the bail application filed by the convener of Revolution Now protest, Omoyele Sowore, and 4 others challenging their remand in custody by the Nigerian police force. Olawede Ara of NTA reports that this is sequel to the transfer of the case file from the police to the office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice in line with the law of the land. So joining me in the studio today on Political Update is a senior advocate of Nigeria, Ibrahim Bawa. Yeah, welcome to Political Update.
Thank you very much.
From the intro, there are some issues. Some people are advocating that local government elections, considering the recent developments where parties in power literally take all the seats, both councillorship and the chairmanship seats.
Yes.
So What is your take on it? Do you think INEC should now take charge of conducting local government elections, or are you comfortable with the state independent electoral commissions?
Thank you very much. The powers to conduct elections in Nigeria generally are donated by the Constitution. The Constitution established the Independent National Electoral Commission with powers to conduct national and state assembly elections, including the presidential and governorship elections. Now, the Constitution likewise established the state independent electoral commissions to conduct local government elections. The attempt is actually in view of the fact that Nigeria adopts a federal system of government where the states are expected to be independent and do things for themselves. But the reality on ground is that the states seem to have totally failed in this regard. There has never been any state that conducted local government elections in Nigeria that a party other than the party in power has won any reasonable election. So in essence, it is a system where opposition is not allowed. The independence of the state independent electoral commissions are not guaranteed. No elections are conducted fairly and genuinely as it ought to be. If we continue in this type of system, the end result may not be good for the country. So efforts have been made. I know of efforts being made by several non-governmental agencies trying to draw attention of the state independent electoral commissions to conducting free and fair elections, but it seems none has yielded any fruitful result. In that wise, I will join the call made by several other Nigerians that where a system will derail the entire country, where elections, if mad, is likely to cause problems for us, it is better to review the system and allow some other independent bodies to do the elections. And so I agree that the state independent electoral commissions have totally failed, and there is a need for the Constitution to be reviewed to take that responsibility of the state independent electoral commissions.
Okay, are you implying that these state independent electoral commissions are more or less being controlled by the state executive?
Certainly, that is what I'm saying. Now, if you conduct an election and from the trend so far seen, from the analysis in the introductory statements you made, was that all the states where elections are conducted, the seats are won by the government in power in the states. So it shows that the elections are not free and fair. It is not possible in this country, given the fierce contest between the major political parties, that not even a single seat an opposing political party will win in the state. It means so much.
But there are constitutional limitations. For this to take place, I think there are some issues, because the state independent electoral commissions in the 1999 constitution has amended, empower them to conduct elections. They can only probably take the register of INEC in case they want to conduct elections. So how do you think those that are advocating for INEC to conduct local government elections will push this so that their position can be materialized?
The thing is easy if we want to achieve it. Section 153 that established the National Independent Electoral Commission provides the powers the commission will exercise. Section 179 says of the State Independent Electoral Commission. All that, if we want to achieve it, is to scrap the provision in Section 179, which creates the State Independent Electoral Commission and vests the power in the Independent National Electoral Commission, in which case there must be constitutional amendments.
Okay, I think we have a clip of the Board of Trustee Chairman of PDP, Walid Jibril. I think let's get that the position of that elder statesman on this issue.
I want the National Assembly to enact a law allowing only INEC to conduct all elections. No local government INEC. At all. That should be one. And once you allow these local governments to organize their own elections, that is why we are troubled. Yes.
Obviously, is in support of your position, the Board of Trustee Chairman of the PDP, Walid Jubril.
Yeah.
But do you think the state governors, because for now, from your analysis, it favors them?
Certainly, yes.
But won't they express some fear that if INEC take charge, there might be probably that so-called federal might in the conduct of those elections?
Yes, in every system you will find the pros and cons, the pros and cons of every activity you take. Now, what it means is that if you take the FCT election, where the presidency resides here in Abuja, the minister of the federal capital is in charge of Abuja, yet the PDP was able to win 2 of the chairmanship positions in the FCT. So where is the federal might? If the PDP can win at Abuja, where not just the federal government, the minister in the state is like the governor in the minister of the FCT is like the governor of a state in terms of exercise of territorial jurisdiction. Now, with the minister, with the presidency, yet PDP was able to win 2 chairmanship positions in Abuja, which we call area council elections.
And these elections were conducted by INEC.
Elections were conducted by INEC. Yeah. So the fear is there, but in fact, it is not like a situation where nobody wins anything at all. There may be fears, but in most situations, and particularly looking at what has been happening in recent elections conducted by INEC, where the party is strong enough, it can always win. So it is not, there's never a system where you won't express doubt, but does that translate into what people say? When people express doubt, yet the opposite happens. So there may be fear of federal might, yet the reality is that the opposition can certainly win some elections.
Do you think this affects because there is this general belief that local government administration is underperforming, and the local government chairman are also giving excuses of the joint fund and all that. Do you think the outcome of these elections also affect the developmental strides in the local government areas?
You see, when you take that aspect of the problems we find at the local government levels, first is that I heard of situations where some governors were alleged to have told the local government chairman, did you win the election? So whatever was given to them was like a favor. It wasn't as if they merited whatever funds will come to the local government. It was like the state governor was giving them a favor. You didn't win the election, we only brought you here, so why will you be complaining that we never found you? And all the monies now go to the joint state and local government accounts, and the governor decides to give them pittance as what he wants. And that is why we don't have development. There is nowhere in this country, wherever you go to, there is generally the general norm that state governments take control of all the funds. Local governments hardly pay salaries, and immediately they pay the salary, the remaining thing left is not enough to do any developmental project. So in those days where you go and you find some roads being constructed by local governments, some other activities going on, you see none these days, because the system has been made in such a way that the local governments are no longer independent. During the transition by Babangida, I know that the local governments were given so much powers that they were exercising.
It was around 1989?
No, okay, 1989 to 93, those local governments, I knew that their funds were coming direct from the federation account
to the local government.
To the local government, directly funded, and so there were projects being undertaken by the local governments. You can hold the chairman accountable because money was sent to him. He must account for the money. Now the chairman tells you, well, this is the pittance that was sent to me by the state. I was only able to pay salaries and not more for me to do any developmental project. So if we must change the system, we must also change the funding of the local government. Okay. It doesn't augur well for a system where you are said to be a tier of government, but you are virtually not responsible for how you run your affairs.
But from the opening we saw, for instance, in Gombe State, we have APC governor.
Yes.
And all the seats
went to the APC, yes.
The same thing in Bauchi,
yes.
PDP,
one.
Abia, PDP.
Yeah.
So now, do you think the elections were not fair and fair? Or they used the state executives to win these elections? Because the governors will definitely tell you the process was transparent.
I cannot say exactly what transpired at the local governments, during the elections. But if you listen to the outcry by the oppositions, in some states the oppositions outrightly tell you, we are not going in because the election is not fair. So if there is that general outcry by all oppositions in all states, it's not just one state. In all states, the oppositions will say the elections are not fair and we cannot participate in the election. So there is so much to look at.
Okay, I think the constitutional amendment process in Nigeria is very cumbersome.
Yeah.
For instance, for this to be actualized, Senate and pass it, concord by all the 36 state assemblies.
Yeah.
Do you think this issue of INEC, proposing INEC should conduct elections, those advocating for it, is it something that can easily come by, considering the system of governance we are practicing?
I think it's a much more cumbersome thing to achieve. They build up to independence of the state judiciary, independence of the state houses of assembly. We had these problems where the state judiciary, the state independent, the state houses of assembly, if you oppose their own independence, so if the states cannot fight for the state houses of assembly cannot fight for their own right, it is very difficult. I believe it will be extremely difficult to achieve this because it is the same state assembly which refuse to fight for themselves. I don't see how they can fight for any other person.
Okay, I think the interim management committee chairman of Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, Algon, who is also the chairman Suleja Local Government Area of Niger State, Abdullahi Shuaibu Meji. We are welcome.
Thank you.
You came slightly late, but I think you are not completely out. The topic is, are you in support that INEC, being a serving local government chairman, INEC should take charge in the conduct of local government elections as against the state independent electoral commissions we have? Are you comfortable with that argument?
Yes, I'm very much comfortable with that, for the national INEC to take charge of all the local government election.
What are your reasons? Because you are a serving member in the local government, so based on the arguments we had before you came, we were thinking that you are probably a beneficiary of the existing system.
I'm a beneficiary of the state INEC election in my own state, but I think it would be better if the local government will have a full autonomy, and by that the national INEC, I think, would take full charge of the election of all the 774 local government that we have in Nigeria.
It seems you are not too comfortable with the process. It's not transparent.
That
is the reason why you are calling for INEC?
No, it's not that it's not transparent.
You have some questions with the process that brought you to power.
Every state has their own nature and time that they conduct their elections, and you can see so many states have not conducted local government election for decades now. It's just a present that some states are conducting
Yes,
election.
I know of Anambra State that almost for 10 years there were no local government elections.
That was why I said so. But in my own state, since 1999, we've been conducting election hardly. and somehow we are approaching a partial autonomy in Niger State. The way that maybe the governor has no hand in times of anything that has to do with the finances of the local government. But because you find out some local government have a lot of staff that are above their allocation, so but we still have to use the joint account so that those local government that cannot be able to pay salary with their allocation, those that have excess in their allocation will use their own excess to augment other local government. So you find out some local government have excess, but they can't use their excess after salary to do some capital project. But I believe if local government will have their full autonomy, the system of local government will change for good entirely.
How many local governments do you have in Niger State?
We have 25 local government
25 local governments, and you are from the APC?
I'm from the APC.
How many of the 25 local government chairmen, how many chairmen are from APC and PDP, or all APC?
We have 23 APC, 2 PDP.
Probably based on the arguments of some advocates out there, probably your state is using the executive power to take charge of.
No, I said I'm not using the executive power.
It's 23 over 2. Is that fair enough?
Because I believe my governor is one of the fairest governor. During the local government election, I can tell you my governor lost in his own ward, in his own polling unit to PDP. And he said they should sworn in the councillor.
Okay.
And even these two local government I mentioned, if he want to use the executive power to sworn in the APC chairman, he will. But the PDP chairman we are sworn in. So my governor doesn't interfere with issues of local government election and local government finances.
But why are local government chairmen not performing?
Yeah, just like I told you, so many states, they've not conducted election. The state governors control the fund. And some states, I can give you example in Kaduna State. Kaduna State governor has changed the system of local government. He allowed the chairman of the local government to take full control of their finances. You find out some local government chairmen execute, within 2 years they execute more than 200-300 capital projects. And you find out there are no security challenges in those local government. So it's one of the credit that we will get from having a full autonomy. It will tackle so many security challenges. If local government are given chance to handle their finances, to have full control of the local government activities, I can assure you we'll have less issues of security in this country generally.
Okay, so finally your advice to your colleagues, because you are the interim management committee chairman of Algon.
Yes.
And also the serving chairman of Suleja local government.
Yes.
What advice will you give to your other 773 local government chairmen, so that at least the issue of underperformance can at least to some extent be addressed?
My advice to them is for us to come together as a team, as Algon. Even though we're having crisis in Algon now, we're having two factions. I'm the IMC president of Algon. There are other factions which is headed by Kolade Alabi of Development Area Council. He's not supposed to be there as Algon because his local government is not one of the 774. He's one of those local government that was created by the former governor of Lagos State, Ahmed Bola Tinubu. The constitution of the country did not recognize his local government. So we don't know how come he even became the Algon president in the first place. So that was why the General Assembly of Algon has dissolved and also put in the interim management committee. But they are yet to accept. Presently we are in court. So I can't say further because the matter is still pending in court.
It's a family matter.
It's a family matter. But I believe soon, very soon, we are going to sort out the issues and we'll come together as one entity, as a local government body, so that we can be able to talk to our governors and other relevant stakeholders, so that we will have this full autonomy of local government. I believe with that we'll go a long way, most especially because we are the closest to the grassroots. So if we are given opportunity and we are being checkmate by our governors, I believe there will be a lot of development in various local government. Some governors will be even looking for project to execute, because I believe some, when they have the allocation, they can pay salary and also do some capital projects.
Thank you very much, Abdullahi Shuaibu, the Entry Management Committee Chairman of Algon. When you get your autonomy, remember political update and your colleague here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Just a minute, your final word so that we can hand off today's edition.
Okay. My final words actually is, just as my colleagues have just spoken, particularly with respect to the funding of local governments.
Thank you very much.
I think there is the need for the National Assembly to take a second look at this provision with respect to joint accounts.
Thank you very much.
It's not helpful to the system.
Thank you very much. Senior Advocate, we may probably invite you some other time, and Algon will get in touch with you some other time. That is much you can take on today's edition on Political Updates, quite interactive. My name is Mia Ogidi. Hope to see you Tuesday next week for another fresh package.